Order at 7 p.m. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Blakely.
Yes.
Gaspar.
Here.
Impastato.
Here.
Locke.
Yes.
Hughes.
Here.
Hodge.
Here.
Drexel.
Tina, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I will. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Hitchens, are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
There are not.
Okay. Board members, any questions, comments, concerns regarding tonight's agenda?
Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Impastato, second by Stoops. Okay. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Blakely.
Yes.
Gaspar.
Yes.
Impastato.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Stoops.
Yes.
Hodge.
Yes. Motion passes. Item 3, public comments. If you would like the opportunity to address the board this evening, please complete a pink sheet and give it to the recording secretary, Kathy Casfidi. When called, please come forward and state your name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Props and handouts need to be approved by the board secretary, Dr. Hitchens. Kathy, do we have all the pink sheets? Okay. Anthony Van Bart, please, come forward. Van Sant, is that?
Van Sant,
I'm sorry,
it's an S.
that's an S, sorry. Got the glasses right here.
I'd like to stand here.
Wherever you can have a seat, whatever, then we can pick up on the mic a little better.
I'd like to thank the board for their time tonight. I'd like to voice my concerns based upon the conversations that were had at the informational meeting for the $15 million bond. A couple things were brought up that I feel that I still had open questions and big concerns about. And the first was how maintenance items were going to be funded based on the 20% budget available. There's about $23 million worth of projects that couldn't be funded and wouldn't be funded after this bond if it were to pass. And I didn't understand how future projects, especially emergency projects, would be funded. I was told that they would be funded out of other sources, and my concern is other sources is either taxes or educational things such as after-school programs. I know budget cuts reduced the full-day kindergarten to half-day, and I don't want other cuts like that to have to be made. My second question that I feel or is a concern is the academic benefit of these fields. I asked what they provided. I was told anecdotally that students have better or athletes have better grades than the general student population. However, they didn't say that the athletic participation rate would increase, so I feel that we're spending $7.5 million plus interest on something that doesn't advance academics at Batavia High School. And to my understanding, that is what the goal of this board is to improve academics. My third concern was the question was raised in regard to why the underground detention wasn't included in the sports, the sports facility, the indoor facility, and the theater, and it was said that it was the best decision at the time. That led me to think, is there a master plan for the district and the individual schools so that we're not making the best decision at the time, but the best decision for the district going forward, not just at the time? And it really concerns me when responses to questions are, well, that's what the best we knew. I mean, there's resources, there's architects, there's planners that specialize in long-term planning, demographics. Why are we not spending a little bit of money for these resources instead of paying for on-site detention just to pay for underground detention later? It seems like we can spend a little to save a lot, and it just doesn't seem like that's happening. Another concern I had was the Senate Bill 16. A lot of that discussion was, well, the person that originally proposed it didn't sponsor it anymore, so we don't really plan for things that aren't happening. But I feel that we should at least have some sort of plan for losing $4 million, even if it's, well, we'll do an across-the-board cut to all these resources, or these are some things that we have an idea, but I feel that it's a disservice to the people and the students to not have a plan, and then if it were to happen, to have to scramble and not have put the thought into it that it really deserves, because while it's a small percent of your budget, it's still $4 million, and to ask the taxpayers to come up with it or to cut that from school programs is a big number when you have fixed things such as teachers' pay, pensions. That $4 million is small compared to the big budget, but not to really your discretionary. So sorry if I went over on
No,
time.
that's fine, you're up on 3, okay. Awesome, well, thank you very much. The board will not engage in any dialogue during the public comment, but is very interested in your feedback. If you also prefer to address the board in a written form, please complete the blue sheet and give it to the recording secretary. And then all your comments will be passed along to the board, okay? Item 3.2, BESPA. Are there any representatives from BESPA here tonight? No? How about the BEA? Amy? How are we doing? Amy being carried.
Doing well. Hello, everyone. Hi, I just have a few things tonight. The first one is, of course, political. As you know, the governor's race is next Tuesday, and early voting is through the 2nd, so that's available now. And one thing that I did want to make sure to point out is the IEA has endorsed Quinn mostly because Rauner's education proposal would result in $3.2 million in general state aid being reduced just from Batavia. So that is a big, huge problem for us and, you know, for anyone who cares about education. The other thing that the previous gentleman pointed out is, yes, SB 16 more than likely won't pass in this session, but it very well may come back in some form in the future. So that would add another $3.9 million away from the general state aid. So that's a huge concern for us because we want to maintain the quality of education in Batavia. So please go out and vote. Please, you know, do that and keep in mind what will keep our schools strong. On a local level, we had just completed 4 BEA listening forums. We did forums last year to find out what our members are feeling and thinking and to sort of creatively problem solve issues that we have. And we are going over the results of that and kind of compiling themes at this point, which we'll share with Dr. Hitchens and the rest of the senior management team next month. The 4 big kind of categories that emerged, just to give you a heads up on that, culture and climate, the calendar, Common Core rollout, particularly in math, and then collaborative structures in the district. So that's what we'll be talking about with you. And then last but not least, the BEA has been working with administration to work on a small pilot this year for student growth because the student growth law goes into effect in 2016, 2017. So we're trying to explore some things with that before the law is actually in effect, and it's been very collaborative, and I just want to say thank you because we've had some really good trainings and we've been doing some good work with the student growth model. So thank you for that. That's all I have, and have a good evening. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Amy. Okay, our student ambassadors, Jake?
Hi there. The sports department from the school right now. Volleyball had their regional tonight. Unfortunately, they lost. So their season comes to an end today. Football will be playing Mount Carmel at 1:30 on Saturday. It's our first round playoff game, and it's going to be huge. It's the Comcast Network during the week, so it'll be broadcasted live on TV. Soccer is also forging ahead. They have their sectional at Bolingbrook tomorrow. We've had a huge amount of success in cross country lately, both at the high school and the middle school level. Obviously, a state championship, incredible. Congratulations, guys. Cross country, both boys and girls, have sent many members onto the sectional. They must take 5th place as a team if they want to go as a team to state, and they can also go individually. In the arts right now, we have a huge event coming up. The Chamber Choir will have the opportunity to perform at the Art Institute in Chicago on December 8th. Day-to-day stuff, we have school out next Friday. It's an Institute Day. Next Thursday is also the practice ACT and parent-teacher conferences, so everybody make sure you behave. And final note, our focus groups are coming up. We weren't able to get them in this time, but they will definitely be there next time, and it's fitting anyway because hopefully Sandy will get them too.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake. Item 4, celebrating successes. I'd like to invite up the coaches and athletes from RMS Cross Country. We are proud of all the runners and especially proud of the girls brought home Batavia's first ever state team title. Coach Hillman and Coach Montgomery. Congratulations.
Thank you. We are excited tonight to be here. So I'm Coach Kate Hillman, and this is Mark Montgomery. Other coaches, Coach Rios, and I know they're a big group, right?
Come on in. Get y'all on camera here. Come on up to the front over here too.
We'll black out the screen.
Yeah.
There you go.
Families are here, right? Yeah.
And maybe can you stand in front of us too? It's gonna get loaded up over there.
Come on, guys. Let the girls in front do that.
Yeah.
Don't hug all the screen
They look so sharp.
Right? I know. Not used to this. They're usually in their sweats and ready to go. But we are very proud of these young women and men for what they've accomplished this season. In general, the program has grown quite a bit. We started in 2007 with a running club of probably 20 kids. And now these are just 20 of the select students from a team of 120 at Rotolo. So very proud of them. Like we said, the girls came home this past weekend with a state championship, which is the first ever for a girls team in Batavia history for any girls team, which is really exciting. And the boys came home for the second year in a row with a trophy as well, with the third place team trophy. So very proud of them for that. Like I said, it's just been a great year all around. And I guess through all the years' experience, it seems like greatness comes with hard work and dedication. And these kids could not have proven that in a better way. It started in June. These kids came out after track season, take a couple weeks off, and they got up every morning. They were at camp at 7:30, running while everybody else is sleeping in. They ran all summer long, and then they got some of their friends who weren't on the team last year to come out, self-recruiting, and then they brought in lots of newcomers that became a part of this team as the season went on. The girls were undefeated the entire season. There is not a team in the state that ever beat them. Some of their accomplishments include they were Belvedere Invitational varsity team champions. They were Belvedere Invitational overall team champions. Troy Invitational 7th grade girls team champions. Troy Invitational 8th grade team second place. They were overall team champions at Troy Invitational, which I have to tell you guys, there were 54 teams from the state that were there, and many who were top-notch teams that they had to compete against later, so that was a big win. At the Foxtrot Invitational, the girls JV champions, the Foxtrot Invite girls varsity champions. They were overall team champions. They were conference JV and varsity champions. They were IESA sectional champions, and then of course, our proudest moment, their state championship this past couple weekends. With that, I almost forgot, they were Crusader Flighted Invitational team champions for 7th grade, 8th grade, and overall. And then I have to recognize this certain individual, but Mia Gianfrancesco, you can step out, Mia, was not only, I know she doesn't like to be recognized, but she was our sectional champion, and she was also part of the all-state team, placing 9th overall in the state of Illinois. So really big accomplishments there. Before we give them a round of applause, I just want to say this is an amazing team of young ladies, and they have hearts of champions. They really do. They push through everything. They had a lot of pressure on them as middle schoolers to go in with a big target on their back. They were runners-up last year at the state meet, and a lot of teams came out knowing that they were going to have to beat Rotolo, and I think they did it with guts and toughness and just perseverance that we will not be beat. We're going to do everything we can, and it was really a team effort. Every single time they went out as a team. And I know most people don't know this, but you run 7 at the state meet, and all of our 7 girls were in front of every team's 5th place girl, so all 7 of them, and almost beat the 4th place runner from the runner-up team. So it was a big, win this season, and we're proud of them. So I couldn't be more proud of them for achieving their goal of state champions. So our girls.
The boys brought home a lot of hardware also this season. They did a great job. This team, truly, it was a team effort. Our team ran very, very tight, very, very close together. Just like Coach Hillman said, the girls were, their top 7 was in front of their 5. Most of the season, that's where our boys ended up. Our 7th man was always beating the other team's 5th man, which really helped us out, and that's what gave us the 3rd place trophy. They were Belvedere champs. 7th grade finished 1st at Crusader in the flight runs. 8th grade got 3rd. At Troy, 7th grade was 3rd, 8th grade was 4th, but we were also sectional champs. Foxtrot and JV were champs this season, so also the boys had a lot of huge success here, and it was a great team. Excellent team effort, and a lot of hard work and dedication paid off, so congratulations to them.
The kids would like to present something to the board for a thank you for everything that this community and the school board has done for their running. It's not often that kids get the support that we get around here. To be able to know that your entire town is behind you and your entire city is proud of what you do and the hard work that you put in means a whole lot. So with that, the girls and boys teams have autographed their posters of their team championships and framed them for you, and they'd like to give those to you as a keepsake of what they've accomplished and your help and support in being.
Thank you. That is so nice. We will, next time you come back, we're going to find a great place for these. Medal. Now, I know your coaches talked about the pressure that you guys have on, another medal. So we won't put extra pressure and make you talk, which is good for Alexa because you'd be first. But we really are proud of you. So thanks for coming out and sharing your successes with us because it makes us proud and we're very glad that you guys are able to experience this. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And you all look very handsome and beautiful. Very much so. Thank you. I tried. Did you want to talk? Yeah. They left pictures.
Well, congratulations. The future of Batavia's running club looks pretty good, so. The next one, I'd like to call up Joy Catero from Main Street.
She's here.
She's there.
Here. The entire Main Street.
Entire Main Street board.
This place cleared out.
Thanks everyone for having us here. My name is Joy Patera. I'm the Executive Director of Main Street, and I'm joined with Rob Hollis, who's our Vice President right now, as well as our Chair for Art in Your Eye, our big art festival in downtown. Then we also have members of our board, Marcia and Marie, and members of the Baird and Warner group that helped us with this event and sort of why we're here. So I'll let Rob kind of explain a little bit.
So we had great partners for Art in Your Eye. Penrose did so much for us in terms of helping us, raise some money, et cetera. This is the first year that Batavia Main Street was responsible for Art in Your Eye. So it was a learning experience for us. So the partnerships we had were really important. We had about 150 volunteers or so that helped us pull it off. working over months and months. One of the great things about Art in Your Eye this year that was a little different was that we had the opportunity to involve some charitable activity. Baird and Warner stepped up in the biggest possible way. One of our biggest challenges in running the event was having enough volunteers to serve beer over about 3 days, right? It takes about 8 people all the time, and Beard and Warner, they stepped up and had a ball. We had fun.
It's not hard to find people to volunteer to drink the beer.
But to serve it is a little bit different. And but the real benefit of this was that Beard and Warner was so generous in donating their time to benefit a fantastic organization, and that's Chip In. So we're here tonight to present a check for $1,400 to Chip In, basically made possible by Baird and Warner.
And the other chip-in volunteers as well.
And the other
Very, yes.
Who do I get to give this
Joanne?
to?
Joanne Fitz.
Thank you. Also, congratulations on everything for the distinction as well as the
Art Award.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. This will be used very carefully to help our students in need.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I too would like to congratulate Joanne on her being a recipient of the William Barth Award. Congratulations. Very proud. Okay, item number 5, the consent agenda. This item of business is a consent agenda.
Oh, we did it. Sorry.
The consent agenda combines routine and procedural items into one agenda item. Mr. Pierce, would you like to please review the consent agenda?
I would be happy to. 5.1 through 5.7 is the approval of the minutes from the various meetings that the board had on September 17th, September 23rd, October 6th, and October 22nd. 5.8 is the approval of the personnel report. 5.9 is the approval of our payroll and bill listing. 5.10 is the approval of the 4 treasurers' reports. 5.11 is our donations. We had an anonymous donation to RMS of $2,000 to go towards supporting students in co-curricular activities, which is fantastic. And we also had a donation of $4,500 to Batavia High School from the Dillon Foundation. And that grant will support 3 students, $1,500 each, college scholarships for dance students. So again, we're grateful for that donation. 5.12 is our 5 FOIA requests that we received this month. 5.13 is the resolution to adopt a 457B deferred compensation plan. 5.14 is the resolution for the authorization of the sale of the property on 709 Latham by public bid. And then finally, 5.15 is the authorization to begin the development of our 2015-16 budget.
Okay, very good. Are there any additional questions, comments, items to be removed from the consent agenda this evening?
I have just one question. On the 5.14, on the parcel, minimum purchase price of $50,000. So anything over that amount is automatically accepted?
The board always reserves the right to reject any and/or all bids, but generally we would believe that would be a fair price if we received that based on consultation with city officials.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, John. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
By Sue, second by Jason. Sorry. Kathy, could you please call the roll?
Sure. Blakely.
Yes.
Gaspar.
Yes.
Inviscato.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
June.
Yes.
Conklin.
Yes. Okay, item 6, discussion, information items.
There are none tonight.
None. Okay. Move on to number 7, action items. Next are action items on the agenda. 7.1, policy committee report. Dr. Hitchens, will you please review the policy committee report?
Sure, the policy committee meets monthly. They don't take any action at their meetings, and so what they do is they bring you their recommendations to the full board. And so for this month, there are 4 policies that are listed exactly like you saw them last month. That last month was a first reading. We didn't receive any feedback, and so they're being presented for you, to you for adoption. So the policy committee would like you to approve policies 220, 460, 5260, and 7180, changes to those policies. And policy 530, which is the hiring process and criteria. There were some questions last month. So Steve, why don't you real quick explain what the change was in that policy? It's the hiring, the tuberculosis test.
Yeah, the state code no longer requires us to require TB testing for employees. Public health officials do recommend that we do require that for anyone working with early childhood students. So we amended that policy to reflect that. So as you can read it, that we will not require TB tests for all of our employees, but those that work directly with early childhood students in that program will be required.
So we are asking you to adopt that. He did make the changes, the clarifications based on feedback from last month. Policy 7240, this is a first reading. So what happens when we subscribe to a policy service, and they'll give us recommendations based on changes in legislation. So there were some recommended changes to policy 7240, which is the code of conduct. But when we reviewed that policy, the recommended changes, we also looked at something that a previous board years ago had decided to omit, which is omit a section of the policy. And now we're bringing it back to you in its full form as recommended by our policy service. And that includes a paragraph on, in order to prevent drug and alcohol, that there would be a policy that allowed for random drug testing of our extracurricular students who sign our extracurricular code of conduct, to make sure that we have that in place to keep students safe. So this is a first reading, so we'd like your feedback on that. So it is a recommended policy. At some point, we took it out of the policy, but now we would like to put that back in. So questions on that last policy? Or any of the policies, actually?
I think one of the items in discussion that we had was the IHSA also has built into their policy a drug and alcohol testing procedure. So it's kind of still staying in line with all that. So we won't really...
Yeah, they have a performance-enhancing drug requirement that the students have to sign off on, that they might be randomly tested through the IHSA if they're involved in IHSA athletics. This would be the...
more encompassing.
Yeah, it'd be more encompassing because we have all of our students involved in extracurriculars sign the code of conduct.
And that's what it's not just for athletics. It's anyone who signs the code of all extracurricular.
Right.
So, okay.
So the policy, just like all of the policies, they're meant to be general and just provide guidance. So this doesn't say how we would do it or when we would start that practice. This is more of a philosophy. Do you believe that that should be in our policy? And then you would ask, if you say yes, if we adopt it, then you would say to administration, now can you go write the procedures? And we would bring that back as well to the policy committee. So if you have thoughts about that particular topic, you can feel free to share it now or tell a member of the policy committee, John and Sue.
Anything else? No? So in this, I think the motion would be to entertain motion to approve the policies, what, 2.20 or 4:60, 5:260, and 7:260. and 180, right?
And
And then
530.
And 530.
Yep, there's 5 policies we're
Yep, right.
asking to recommend that we adopt those. The other one is the first reading. We need feedback, and then we'll bring it back for the second.
And we discussed this. I mean, this isn't the first time any of us have seen this. We discussed this at policy and had a great discussion.
Yeah.
So.
But we're not making action on
Right,
that.
but
last
I just want you to know that we have looked at
Right.
this.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So,
Okay, so that would be
Okay,
our
so motion and a
policy
motion?
committee's recommendation.
okay.
Any questions? Any more? No? I'd like to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by John, second by Sue. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Wiggly?
Yes. Yes.
Gaspar?
Yes.
Impastato?
Yes.
Locke?
Yes.
Duke?
Yes.
Hodge?
Yes. Motion passes. Okay, on to the next action item, 7.2, website and brand design. Tony?
Yeah, so last month, Sue Gillerline and I led a discussion with the board about redesigning our website and our identity and brand that would go along with it. And the primary goal of that discussion was to identify outcomes or objectives, what we try to accomplish with a website redesign and identity and brand. And also identify a process by which we would accomplish that. So over the past month, Sue and I have led a series of focus groups with stakeholders in the community, and we wanted to report the results of those focus groups with you and also the refined objectives, and also make a recommendation to the board moving forward. So that's what we're wanting to cover tonight. But before I do that, I wanted to just share with the board a brief history of the district website. So this is the district website as it looked in 2001. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. You know, you can just...
She's got her eyes covered.
Hey, Tony, is that what you're saying? It's like me trying to...
And you can see the old...
A child now graduating.
So here we were thinking for the future. Yes. And in 2004, unfortunately I don't have the picture that goes in the middle of this, but this is what the website looked like 3 years later in 2004. So pretty substantially different, but you can get a kind of a sense of how technology is evolving over this time period. 2009, we moved to a platform that was more of a content management system where we weren't necessarily editing web pages, but we were posting pieces of content that were being collected together in a database and then shared.
I remember that one.
And then in 2012, we had an iteration of the current website, and again, I'm sorry that we don't have the picture here, but in that black space in the middle would have been a feature of some sort that would have been rotating. But then recently, we have some other modifications. It's the same website, but it's laid out in a little bit of different fashion, but it brings us to the website that we have today. In terms of objectives for what we're trying to accomplish, the current website that we have really wasn't designed for mobile devices as we use them now. Technology has evolved pretty significantly since we rolled out that initial website. And by the time if we redesign this, by the time we do this, the website will be almost 4 years old. The other thing is that we all communicate very differently now than we did then. And the website really is the central hub of all of our communications. Parents come to it for virtually any digital interaction that we have with them. It's the gateway, and oftentimes they're looking for something specific, but we want to use it as an opportunity to engage them and our community with stories and incidental things that will draw them into items that they wouldn't otherwise know about. For example, what we just saw tonight, the success of our cross-country teams at the middle school. There are so many points of pride that this community has. It's a very tight-knit community, but it's a relatively large community and there's a lot going on. So we want to showcase all the excellent things that are going on in our schools through our website, and we want to do that in a fashion that really helps people connect through photos and through stories and through really concise but very poignant and meaningful stories or text that we can share information. So before I get much further, I wanted to ask Sue to share with you some of the details from our focus groups.
We did have, Tony and I led 6 different focus groups, and we had them with students, staff, community members, and parents. And it was really good. It was a great exercise and really interesting. And we did actually come up with some common focus group findings. It was also found that you would go from one group to the next group, and one group would say black and the other would say white, so that was interesting too. But there were definitely some common pieces that came out of this, which are extremely helpful. And I would say the primary red was navigation, and people, saying that navigation is definitely an issue for them. One of the big things was they can't find their teacher, their students' teachers' websites very easily. And then when they get to those sites, they're not very standardized. Also, sport calendars. How do I find football games and those type of things, which would be easy to find, but they aren't right now. So that was one thing that was brought up many times. Also, there was a lot of people talk about having the bell, to make it easy for parents to find, their lunch times, the bell schedules, registration, all the common pieces of information that a parent would want to find. Not always accessible at every school site. So if you go to, HAS, it might be in one spot. If you go to Grayson McWayne, it might be slightly different. So, we're looking for standardization is what we were hearing in the focus groups. And then the big piece, which is one of the biggest driving forces for this whole web design, is being able to use the website on all devices. And that came up several times. So that's what we found in the focus groups, which was very helpful and which we're going to use.
So in designing, we're essentially architecting a website, and it can be difficult to do because we have a lot of stakeholders that have very differing expectations and differing needs. So we're trying to, the analogy that I tried to use is that we're asking an architect to build a house that works essentially for everybody as best that they can. And again, this is going to be a process where they design the website for us. We're going to still take care of it. We're going to maintain it. There aren't going to be ongoing costs. I mean, obviously, it costs money to maintain a website, but that's going to be, we already have the infrastructure, we already have the staff to do that. But we're looking for a new design that makes navigation for our stakeholders easier. It makes publishing content for our principals and our secretaries easier, so we can get the information from the original point, the original sources of origin. And we also want to make sure that we tailor our content a little bit better for the audiences, for parents and for students and for teachers. So it's a pretty big project. It's 9 websites in total, so the district and all of our schools, and it would be the logos and the identity and brand that goes along with it. So it isn't an insignificant amount of work. This would take us the rest of the school year. We'd be looking at deploying these websites and logos and brands sometime probably early summer. Kind of like a soft start date so that everything is ready and in place for the beginning of the next school year. And it's something that would span 2 fiscal years. So this isn't something that we're going to pay for in the current fiscal year. We split the cost between this fiscal year and next. But,
who's going to approve the brands?
Pardon?
Who will approve the brands?
The brands, like the logos?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it'll be a process. Well, me, actually, I think I should do it. No, we're going to work with all of we will do focus groups with our schools and to get as much input as we can. But those are very challenging, oftentimes, conversations because everybody has an opinion on how things should look. So we're try to get as much feedback as we can, and be as fair as we can. But those are always tricky.
Will the district own the code?
Yeah, it would be built on open source technology so that the district would own all the content and the code and the proposal that we're recommending.
Will the channels be closed so that it's secure and hackers aren't going to be able to get in and change the content?
Hopefully. That's always a challenge, maintaining up-to-date code. That's a challenge with our current website. There were security updates that come out all the time, and our staff looks at that literally on a daily basis. They make almost literally daily. They're making adjustments to security practices so that they keep not just our website, but all of our systems secure.
Do you know anything about like the breakdown of like student usage versus parent usage, community members and teachers and staff?
No, we don't. That's difficult to tell. We can kind of gauge that by looking at the hits for what people actually click on, but sometimes that's common between all audiences, so that's difficult to ascertain unless somebody said, I'm a parent. But I would say it's pretty mixed. Students use it on a daily basis. I think in our focus groups, people tell us they use it every day, if not multiple times a day.
Yeah, the students, it was surprising how much, Jake was actually one of our web focus group attendees, and I was actually surprised at how much the students actually use the website.
What were they using it for?
They use it, Jake uses it for these meetings, but that's not usual. But they were using it as a gateway to, they were using the calendar. That was a key thing, is the calendar. And to get into their teachers' websites, which are the two biggest.
So they would go to
They were going to
district
the main site,
website,
yes.
and then, rather than just going directly to the teacher website?
Right.
And then Power School?
Yes.
I would assume.
Yes, Power School. Check the grades.
It really is the hub. It connects everything together.
I just wanted to just give the board, I appreciate it. I was probably in a meeting with Sue and Tony today for about a little over an hour because I had major concerns on this. When I saw the work and then I saw the price tag, that bothered me. Well, I know when we discussed it last time on what this was going to cost and hoping, I was hoping to discuss it later and vote on it later to work out, but they sat down with me and they explained, and Tony used some, while we were in there talking, he was coming up with some of the items he just did about the architect and so on. My concern was on a one-time deal and not just spending more money after something else later on. This was going to benefit all the platforms that we have. I know some of you guys use all of them, and I use very little of them. So, but I think in the long run, and it's over a course of time, I also thought this was only for one part, the main district one, and not for all the other schools, until you explain that. So that, I think, helped me realize the cost of it. So I just wanted to share what my thinking was on it and how he explained it all to me and Sue. And I think in the long run, I think this will benefit us with all the new platforms. I know it's a little bit more than I would like to see, but I think hopefully they'll keep an eye on it and go from there. And I know some of you guys are more the techies than I am, but I had concerns over it, and I really wanted to let them know I appreciated their time this afternoon.
How long do you think you have to redesign it again?
It's tough to say. If you look at our trend, it would be about every 3 years. But I don't know how that will hold moving forward. It's tough to say how. It really isn't so much that we have to update the website. It's the technology that's accessing the website is evolving, and that's really what's driving these changes. So roughly every 3 years.
The only other thing that came to my mind, Tony, as I left you guys and then come back, and you had told me about 5, 6, 7 months or so to pull it out. What I'm concerned about maybe at the start of the school year when everybody's trying to do all this new stuff, do we kind of have a backup plan, just in case?
You're not changing Power School though, right?
No,
You're building
School
around
stay the
Power
same.
School.
So that stuff will stay the same?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The real concern would be registration and getting schedules and those sorts of things. And we'll have some integration with Power School, but fundamentally Power School won't change.
Thank goodness I don't have to worry about that anymore.
One thing I did see in one of your bullet points was implementation of a single calendar. I know being a BIC rep for last few years, that has been a hot button because we get around the table and everybody's got their own website and they got their own calendar, and it's like, how can, the biggest push has been, I think, to integrate those because, so everybody knows what everybody else is doing. They're putting events together, and it's like, that's the same night as, 4 other schools are having their fun fairs and all this stuff, and it's like, we kept saying, there's got to be a way of blending this, got to be a way of bringing this together so that everybody kind of knows what everybody else is doing. And this sounds like it'll do it.
It's a step in the right direction. Anything related to calendaring is tricky, as Brad would tell you. And there's a lot of information. There's a lot of events going on in this district on any given day, and there's a lot there. But I think we can make some significant improvements.
Yeah.
Is there a thought to be able to integrate like calendar functions? Like for myself, next year I'll have 3 kids in 3 different levels of schools, so being able to pull
Welcome
up.
to my world.
Yeah. 3 different, like saying, okay, I want a school calendar for J.B. Nelson, Rotolo, and Batavia High School. Show me everything that's going on at all 3 at the same time, or is it going to be like 3 separate ones that
I would hope that we can do that, yes, and what I would really, one of the requirements of the proposals was that people be able to subscribe to those calendars so that if they have a smartphone or device that they can automatically pull that into their devices so they don't have to add those events manually. So you could certainly overlay them on the calendars that you subscribe to on your device.
Everybody's calendar that you don't want necessarily. We're just going to those things you want.
So is there an app that's going to come along with this as well?
That would be one item that isn't in the scope of this project, and we're on the fence on that. You know, it's something we might add in the future. In theory, if we do a really good job with the website, all that information would be available on the app. I would say that that's probably a trend that's happening overall. We use apps on our iPads, our iOS devices, and our Chromebooks. We're app crazy with all the things that we're using, but you're seeing a trend more and more to, rather than having a specialized app, that it's all going to be web-based, and it might just really, the apps become bookmarks to a website.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that if we do this website really well, we won't need an app.
I just caution you to make sure you don't spend all your money on the branding aspect of it, and you make sure you pay close attention to the back end and the security end of it, because if the hacker gets in there and takes it all down, it will cost way more than $90,000 to bring it back up.
Speaking of which, how did you arrive at this particular vendor?
We looked at a few different proposals, and we picked the one that we felt best met the objectives of what we want to accomplish.
Were they in, is there a focus group involved in that too, or you just kind of got it down to hammering out?
We were just hammering out what we thought, what we were trying to accomplish, what our stakeholders were telling us we needed to accomplish, and which proposal we thought would best meet those objectives.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to authorize a contract with Rule 29 Creative Incorporated to design the BPS website and brand at a cost not to exceed $90,000.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Tina, second by Jason. Kathy, please call the roll.
Layton.
Yes.
Gaspar.
Yes.
Incasato.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Seuss.
Yes.
Hodge.
Yes. Motion passes. Item number 8. We have staff and board comments. Dr. Hitchens.
Just wanted to reiterate our, the celebrating success that we had today. I think it was great that all those families came out. I know you couldn't see on camera what we saw from sitting here, but all the little brothers and sisters that were taking pictures, it was a full house, and it was very exciting to see that that event brought all those families together and gave them such pride in our district, and we're so proud of them. So that's my comments for the night.
Okay. Ellie, you want to start?
I just want to say congratulations to the soccer team and the football team on making the playoffs, and wish them luck as they move on. And I encourage all parents to sign up for your conferences next week, because it takes a village. You cannot just rely on the teachers to get them to their next step. You must be involved. And so take that first step and get in the classroom and see what your student is doing. That will show the student too that you are watching and that you care. So, and it shows the teacher that you're involved and you know what's going on. So I just encourage everyone to take the time to sign up and get in the classroom if you can.
First, I wanted to thank Batavia Main Street for the Art in Your Eye program. I volunteered there, and it was a fun time. It's wonderful to see Chip in. That was part of it, but the $1,400 donation, I'm sure Chip In is going to do great things with that. I want to congratulate Rotolo for their cross-country program, doing so well at state. It's crazy to see how it's started in 2007 as a running club, and already the girls have taken state. So just shows the hard work and dedication of the students and of the coaches as well. Looking forward to the football game on Saturday, and have seen some great games through this month so far, so I'm sure our battling Bulldogs will do great. And go Bulldogs.
I have some prepared statements. I would like to. First off, I would like to thank Joanne Smith for taking me through a Bulldog Hour. It was very informative and interesting, and I understand it's working well. It's kind of an interesting program they've got going over there. Students are able to get help, make up tests, study, or relax if their grades are allowing it. It's a neat little program they've got piloted there, and I think it's working well. So, next, I would like to congratulate Joanne Spitz. Not only is she the winner of the William D. Barth Award from Tri-City Family Services, but she does so much great work, not just for the schools here in Batavia, but for the entire town and our county. It's an honor to know her, and I would also like to thank you for your comments you made last month. The board appreciates everything you said. There was a great article in the District E-News about the use of Chromebooks and technology in the classrooms. If you haven't yet read it, I would suggest you check it out. The AGS 5th grade students recently participated in a live video chat with an author in Budapest. I know Sue was there for it. My son participated in it. It was quite interesting, and the article gives a little insight on how the technology is being used in the district. J.B. Nelson recently had a family art night in partnership with Water Street Studios. Did you go to that at all? Or?
I was busy.
Volunteering, huh?
Yes.
It's okay. I've mentioned this before, but I'd love to see the schools working with the businesses in town. I think it's great to see the connections, like Lisa's talked about making connections. I love it when the towns and the businesses in town are working with the schools. It's great to see the collaborative work. I started trying to keep a list, and I know Jake read off some of them. All the sports, the athletics, we've mentioned some here tonight, football, running. I just want to say congratulations to all the recent successes the Batavia athletics, music, drama, and academic teams have had. Everyone individually, on a team, the players, participants, parents, and coaches should be extremely proud of themselves. Extracurricular activities take a lot of time. Students who participate in extracurricular activities have a higher GPA and less disciplinary problems than students that are not involved in those activities. Next, I would like to encourage all citizens to go and vote next Tuesday, November 4th. Regardless of how you plan to vote or for whom you plan to vote for, it is your right and your duty as a citizen to exercise this freedom that many have fought and died for. Lastly, I would like to thank all of those who attended last month's board meeting. There were a lot of people here who attended the meeting that began at 7 p.m. But I would like to especially recognize and thank Carl Dinwiddie, who was the only person that wasn't getting paid, except the board, that was here at the end of the meeting at 10:30. Eric was here, he was getting paid. When we came out of our meeting, Carl was the only man that was here, and I appreciated his staying. So I just wanted to thank him. And thank you all for listening to my little comments. Have a good evening. And go Dogs. Thank you. Oh, it's
Hi,
you.
Tina.
It's you, Tina.
Unless you want to pass it down.
I had a free afternoon. What can I say?
There was a lot of great things said. Again, congratulations to all of our fabulous celebrations and at all our schools. So congratulations to everyone. Yes, please go vote. I want to thank all the opinions that we've had publicly and through emails for the upcoming vote. And so all those in favor, all those who are not, thank you. I also would like to congratulate Joanne. I have the pleasure of working with her, and she is just a wonderful person, so congratulations for all you do, and everybody out there also. And that's it. Have a good week.
If I said I have nothing, you guys would all As always, I want to thank everyone that came out at different meetings, speak to us, write to us by emails, phone calls, and just want to make sure that you all understand that we do get all this information, and usually the board president will respond. We might not always agree on the outcome, but is something that makes me think of the different opinions that are out there. Again, as always, I want to thank everyone here at RJAC for getting all the information to me in a timely fashion, and sometimes on a quick notice when something comes up. So I appreciate the time. I wanted to thank the parents, the staff, administration at RJAC, and the students at Hooverwood School for their patience on working behind the scenes to figure out what was best for the 2 second-grade classes. Sometimes it moves a little slower than we want, but we must be patient and try different paths to come up with the best solution. So thank you for your work, Brad. I wanted to thank Lisa for being on the panel up at St. Charles North with regards to Senate Bill 16. It was very informative, and I hope this bill can be reworked so that real changes can be made to how we fund education in the state of Illinois, and not something that we could lose some money on. I spent 2 days at Hooverwood this past month with the 1st, 2nd, and 4th grade classes helping out. And I'll tell you, even though I taught for 33 years, when I get done there, I'm ready to go home and take a nap. Those young ones, they just keep you going. So I just wanted to thank everybody at Hooverwood for always welcoming me there. I wanted to say I was a little disappointed in the turnout at the information meeting that we had about the alternative revenue bond question, but I can understand with the rain and the cold kept people away. However, I hope that everyone received enough information to make a sound decision next Tuesday on voting day. Finally, speaking of the vote, I hope all registered voters go out and vote next week. This is the one area that we can make a difference. Even though a lot of people don't think so, not voting doesn't help. It just makes people complain more. Every vote counts, and however you vote, I believe that you are doing your civic duty, and I believe it. And I have 4 quotes that I would just like to, on the voting, if you don't mind. This is from John Quincy Adams. Always vote on principle. Though you may vote alone, you may cherish the sweetest reflection that your vote is never lost. From Ralph Waldo Emerson, those who stay away from the election think that one vote will do no good. 'Tis but one step more to think one vote will do no harm. And from Franklin Delano Roosevelt, nobody will ever deprive the American people of the right to vote, except the American people themselves, and only the way they could do this is by not voting. And here's my favorite, from Abraham Lincoln, from our own state. Elections belong to the people. It's their decision. If they decide to turn their back on the fire and burn their behinds, then they will just have to sit on their blisters. I'm done.
Thank you, John. I don't have much to say after that. But I do want to put a plug in for the Hall of Honor that I've been able to work with Joanne Spitz on, and then Phillips Day came from the foundation, and it was involved out of there, and a committee we've been working for over a year, haven't we?
We've been talking about it for.
And right now, why I'm putting a plug in is we are accepting nominations for the first class to be put into the hall, and we are really in need of those applications. Just if I want to speak to the public, just don't assume, oh, so-and-so is going to be in there, they'll make it. Go ahead and put that application in, and we really need that information, because with the application comes background information, so that then the nominating committee can start processing this through and have an understanding of really who that individual is. So we've gotten a lot of people stopped on the street and says, I've got a great idea for somebody, but you really need to follow through with that. And those are all over on our website. We have a Facebook page. We have, Sue, you could probably help me out on all the different places they can contact us or get a nomination form on that. But Twitter, Facebook, website, BPS 101, Hall of Honor is the one to remember. But please, if I can plead with the public, participate in that. But aside of that, if there are no further comments or questions, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the regular meeting of the Board of Education.
So moved.
Moved by Melanie, second by Sue. Kathy, please call the roll.
Whitley?
Yes.
Gaspar?
Yes.
Incasato?
Yes.
Locke?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
Hodge?
Yes. 8 o'clock exactly.